When it comes to peak rankings in the PeakHouse brand, the first thing that probably comes to mind is skiing. But this past month, we took the first step to change that by running our inaugural PeakHouse hiking trip to Canada's Banff National Park. Hiking seemed like the next natural step in our evolution. After all, you can't really practically ski in the summer unless you shell out expensive flights for halfway around the world. But how'd it work out in reality? Well, in this video, we'll walk you through the whole experience of what was the PeakHouse Banff hiking trip, how our typically ski-centric format shook out in Hiking Guys, and whether or not we plan to do more of these summer-oriented trips down the line. Let's jump into the boldest gamble we've made since we started PeakHouse in the first place. So the first thing to know about Banff National Park is it's pretty remote and expensive. As a result, people often stop through Calgary on the way up for errands. That's exactly what we did, making our first ever Canadian Costco run so we'd be stocked with groceries. Alright guys, so we have finished our Costco run. There are a couple of things that we wanted to show off as uniquely Canadian. Classic Canadian maple syrup. Oatmeal was made with 100% Canadian oats. Cheese, we got Canadian cheese. Oh yes, we got Dempster's Canadian hamburger buns, so that is Canadian. We finished our grocery haul just in time for our trip goers to start arriving in Calgary. Oh, we got the crew. Perfect timing. What's up, guys? We had a good night's sleep to recover from the jet lag, but the following morning, I challenged them all to do a 3-mile run before going out to the mountains. One of them took me up on the offer, but not only did he take me up on it, he actually challenged me to double the distance.
All right, almost back at downtown. Woo. I got my running watch over here. Where's your watch?
Don't have one. This is my watch.
You're just raw dogging that run. You don't know your pace. You don't know your heart rate.
Well, I know your pace and your heart rate. We reached Hytham's target 7.5-mile distance, but we were still quite a ways away from the rest of the crew for breakfast.
Yeah, confirmed for everyone.
So yeah, we finished our run, but we still need to make it to our breakfast place. So we still have about half a mile. After a hearty breakfast at the renowned OEB restaurant in downtown Calgary, we headed to the cars and started our journey to Banff. And after an hour of breathtaking driving, we made it to our accommodation. And then it was time for the first hike of the trip, the short but sweet Tunnel Mountain. What do you think you're going to see on this hike?
Hoping to see some cool peaks. Hoping to see some wildlife.
Almost immediately, the views were immaculate. Yeah, it immediately became clear Banff is not your average looking town. How's the view?
This is amazing.
Okay,
You'll be racing ahead.
Maybe I'll be at the back.
You're not scrambling, you didn't really hike. Isn't that right, George?
That's the content for almost peak rankings.
Then we made it to the top.
Either this one or
And it was kind of underwhelming. All right, Andrew.
All right, found the peak.
Found the peak. But even if the technical summit wasn't the most iconic, we'd already made it up there and the views near the top were still pretty great, so we decided it was picture time.
Well, let's use your expertise to get a good lighting.
All right, if you take it from here, side lighting, that would be perfect. Thank you so much.
But, I mean, this place was so beautiful that one picture wasn't enough.
There you go, dude.
And after a productive photo shoot, we finally made our way down. But not before we saw some wildlife. So that was a good warm-up hike to set the tone for the rest of the trip. But every good outdoor trip starts with an important welcome meal, and just like every PeakHouse trip that preceded it, we started our inaugural hiking trip with a pasta dinner. But even though we enjoyed a delicious meal, very little could prepare us for what was about to come next. You've probably heard of double rainbows in lore, or maybe you've been lucky enough to see one in real life. But today, we saw a triple rainbow.
Oh my.
Triple rainbow!
Oh my god.
Stack on stack on stack.
That is the first time I've ever seen something like that.
Wow.
Then we tried our luck at trivia, split up into 2 teams and competed against each other, and tied for dead last. We coped with our sorrows by initiating the only 2 people on our trip who had never had a shot ski before with, you guessed it, a shot ski.
After all of this, that's what this trip is all about. Crazy. They're crazy. They're insane. Let's go. Woo!
That was quite a bit of fun, but perhaps more importantly was the start to the next morning. And you can't have a trip like this without a hearty breakfast. Can you tell me how you're feeling about the day?
Yeah, excited. Today's our big hike day, so excited to really, see Banff and see all the main features.
Also, we had our first merch model of the trip. Check this baby out.
This Peak Dad hat right here, showing some Peak Rankings pride right here. I am not a Peak Dad, but it's my honor to wear this today.
Today's adventure, a trip to Lake Louise via a Rome Transit bus ride. This bus is in extremely high demand and requires advanced reservations that fill up in minutes. Here's a snapshot of what we went through a month before the trip to get these tickets. We filled our Banff trip yesterday. The Banff to Lake Louise shuttle reservations open at 9 a.m. Mountain Time on June 2nd for the entire summer. Basically, as soon as the reservations opened, the reservation page crashed. We had to keep refreshing and clicking buttons, but we finally got all of the bus tickets that we needed. And we were literally just scrambling to get them done, and it was terrible. And even after getting off the bus, some of us were a bit taken aback by the significant crowding. Although some of the trip guys did recognize that a lot of the other tourists who hadn't planned in advance did have it worse.
That's why you got to come on a PeakHouse trip, so that Sam takes care of all your logistics and you don't have to pay highway robbery rates like that.
After some time waiting in line for a bathroom break, yes, even the boys got a taste of what it was like to wait to use the bathroom. We were off. But the hassle was worth it because we ended up seeing what for most of us was the most beautiful lake of our lives.
This will look great in the edit if you do it properly. No good. Oh my God, that's a lake?
And we had to take advantage of it with a photo shoot. That is, if we could get through all of the people.
Yeah. Great picture. Right next.
But we couldn't stand around and look pretty for long, because this was a hiking trip, and we had the longest hike of the trip right ahead of us.
Have any of you guys ever hiked 11.3 miles before?
Yes.
No.
Longer. Longest I've done is actually 25 miles.
Only a bit further up, it became clear this hike would entail more bodies of water.
This is cool.
This is a pond, not a lake.
Not impressed.
I'm impressed, but it's a pond.
There were some incredibly exotic birds that showed up around our hike, but our tripgoers were interested in other animals.
Turn so you get the lake in the back for your little. I think she's the star. Marcy's the star.
After some cool waterfalls, we made it to our lunch spot, the Lake Agnes Tea House.
I paid for blue water. No, this is pretty. I actually really like
Ooh, should we get online right now?
It quickly became clear that the huge crowds were not exclusive to the base of the lake.
That line is enormous.
Yeah.
It ain't moving, let me tell you.
No? Well, it looks like Jake, Afra, and Hallie are trying their luck.
Oh, they're in line already.
We're gonna go run a lap around the lake.
Oh, yeah?
Then we'll get back.
Well, you were thinking, there's a trail that goes up.
You guys are savages. You guys are insane.
But as we saw the freshly baked bread coming out, we started to see why people were willing to wait.
What's the verdict so far?
It's good.
It's okay.
It's great.
After that authentic tea house meal, it was back to the trail.
Do you want to tell everyone what happened?
So, we waited in line at the tea house. Great experience overall. A little bit of a wait. Food was good.
Was it
Great.
delicious?
It was delicious. Definitely recommend the tuna with hot peppers. Great sandwich. I looked down out of nowhere. Must have been a blue jay or a bird. Came out, knocked the sandwich out of my hands. Half of it fell on the ground. But I you know what? I will say, I ate it. I ate it anyway. Because what are you gonna do?
With no tea house to climb to, the crowds had completely filtered out.
That's what I'm finding about this place. The best parts of it are hidden away from everyone else.
More photo taking and sightseeing,
Yes,
and we were
sir.
on the way again. But not before a departing gesture to Agnes Lake.
Yeah! That felt really cool.
After a strenuous uphill climb out of the lake basin,
Just like Vermont in 2016, I'm feeling the burn.
it became clear the crowds back at the tea house had been completely missing out.
This looks really fake.
It does give you a sense of how far we've come.
Whoa.
Right here? No
so good.
way.
We also tried eating some snow.
Don't go in there. That's why that werewolf was up there.
Let's go.
And petting some plants.
If I die.
And got a look at some very cool glaciers. And finally, we made it back down our 11.5-mile round-trip hike for a well-deserved stop at the lakeshore. A few of our trip goers were especially smart about planning, and being such an iconic lake, they brought the proper swimwear to actually jump in.
That was a very graceful.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. I think they're like baptized. They're officially Canadian.
I've had colder. Would recommend. Refreshing. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it really wasn't that cold.
But after a long day of hiking,
My legs just cracked in a very weird way.
You cracked your legs?
Yes.
we made our way back to Banff for a very Canadian dinner.
On the internet.
What are you guys arguing about?
Oh, just about the water for $1,000.
If you come to Banff and you visit the Canada Brew House, request Aaron as your server. He's the man.
And he'll give you a free tankard to take home and just take luggage. Maybe.
That can get me in trouble now.
After that very Canadian dinner, it was time to go back to the hostel for some rest. But we wouldn't be resting for long, because the next day would involve a very early morning wake-up. Moraine Lake is notoriously difficult to visit. You can't drive your car there, and unless you want to charter a private and expensive shuttle, the only public transportation is through a bus that you have to reserve weeks in advance. In fact, the tickets fill up so quickly that your chances of getting a reasonable time slot are essentially slim to none. And that's how we found ourselves shuffling downtown before the sun was even up to get to our 6 a.m. bus reservation.
It's 5:21 in the morning, guys. Bright and early. How you feeling?
Even found time to make snacks.
Oh my.
Reminds me of my childhood.
Like cut in and then. Yeah.
Hearty peanut butter sandwich.
But following an hour-and-a-half bus journey and a transfer at Lake Louise, we finally made it.
Very Canadian.
Oh my god, wait, I might have to get that patch.
Despite a cool and cloudy morning, as often happens in the Canadian Rockies even during the summer, we made our way up the mountains. Today's hike, Sentinel Pass.
Let's see if we turn a corner and find it.
We're ready for it.
We're going bear hunting.
Yep.
After about half a mile, Moraine Lake finally showed us its true colors, although we did have to peer through the trees. But views of Moraine Lake didn't last long, and we suddenly found ourselves surrounded by towering peaks.
Do you guys feel like the incline is too hard, too soft, or just right?
I think it's just right.
Damn. Look at the glacier.
This is cool.
It was also around this time we realized that a few of us had gotten ahead of ourselves and outpaced the group.
So we got here at like 9:20. It's now 9:43.
How's it going?
Everyone else is probably 45 minutes behind.
Are you serious?
What? We've been waiting for like more than half an hour.
No, they're trying to go fast, and then they take like a 5-minute break, then they go fast, then a 5-minute break.
It sounds about right.
Well, we've been waiting for a while, and the clouds are whizzing by, and I thought the time lapse would look sick. You know, I improvised. Man, you can see each time the clock ticks, that's like one frame. I'm not sure actually. Don't quote me on that.
Don't worry, I only have 4 miles to go. How you guys doing?
Great.
We're cold. We're cold.
Oh, we've been waiting here for you guys.
No way.
Yeah.
Why?
Sound it.
Not again.
God, you're surrounded by mosquitoes. I'm not waiting here.
Yeah, the mosquitoes were pretty bad, but after reapplying some industrial-grade bug spray, it was time to keep going. As we got higher, the views continued to stun.
It's, I think, one of the most beautiful places I've been. Oh, lake. Lake. Let's go.
As did the elements of the hike itself. Finally, things got steep again, but the cardio workout clearly paid off.
Dolomite, Canada, right here.
Yeah.
We found that someone left a handy hiking stick, and then continued on. But finally, many mosquito bites, clouds, and raindrops later, we made it to the top of Sentinel Pass.
Whoa. Let's see the view.
And then, one of the coolest bird sightings we ever witnessed occurred.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, majestic. That was
What a lad!
Where did you get that from?
You shall not pass.
But even though Sentinel Pass was a sight to behold, it was very cold and windy.
Let's see how the stabilization is on this GoPro, because I'm shaking like crazy. Well, I'm not as cold anymore because it's
How's it going? You're still shaking?
So we decided to start down. And wouldn't you know, the sky started to clear up. And honestly, the views on the way down were almost more rewarding than they were going up. Before we made it to the bottom, we also encountered an intense chipmunk altercation.
Oh.
Is it bad that I kind of... Oh, man.
Shit.
All right, guys, can you tell me what your experience at Moraine Lake was like?
It was pretty impressive. The views were amazing. It felt like Europe a little bit.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Then, after a bus journey back to Banff and each of us feeling a little bit delirious from the lack of sleep, we made it back to the hostel, not to sleep, but for some high-quality Apres.
How are you guys enjoying this happy hour?
Oh, it's great.
So this, I'm getting some hint of blackberries, maybe cherry, raspberry.
Oh, you know what?
I don't think we're smelling the same wine.
We're gonna kill this.
That's crazy.
And of course, what great summer happy hour isn't followed up by a solid grilling session?
All right, let's see if Rod can do it.
I'm something of a scientist.
Hytham, you were excited for your burgers?
Very, look. 2 kinds of veggie burgers.
But it's not a peak rankings trip without some ranking involved, and our trip goers were about to get their first taste.
Oh, no.
We're going to compare this maple cookie with this Oreo maple cookie.
All right, we got ye old Canadian maple leaf here. I think I prefer the filling from Canada,
Oh,
but the biscuit from America.
Whoa.
But this was far from the end of the night. We'd already gotten up at 6 in the morning, done a strenuous hike, had a happy hour, and grilled up some fire burgers. But there was one more bucket list item we had to fit in that day, natural hot springs.
We got the place to ourselves, guys.
No one else in sight.
So there is one thing to caveat about Banff's hot springs. They are in a concrete pool and they do get packed. But it was pretty cool to watch the sun set over the mountains in town. And then it was back to the hostel for some much needed sleep that was extra much needed tonight. And then we woke up to a special breakfast prepared by our one and only Hallie.
All right, what do we have here?
We have some homemade maple banana bread inspired by Canadian maple.
Then it was time to start off the day with a completely different activity fitting of our lake-heavy environment, kayaking. But not without making a few friends along the way. But after a short drive, we made it to our destination.
Hey, can you tell us where we are right now?
We're at Lake Minnewanka.
After signing our lives away, it was time to shove off.
PeakHouse Banff 2025.
Woo! So who's getting in the water?
Definitely not me.
But while the water may have been relatively calm at first, that was about to change thanks to a series of interesting navigational decisions. But our cohort was up for a challenge, and they weren't ready to back down without a fight, at least until it backfired.
Whoa! Oh! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
But then, perhaps as penance for our sins, it started getting windy. Kayaking back to the dock was not easy, to say the least, but at least it was a great upper body workout.
We're doing some water moguling.
Water moguling.
But finally, a very ripply journey later, we made it back to the shore. And after that adventure, we decided it was about right that we treat ourselves to ice cream.
Interesting.
Damn, go.
And then we made some more non-human
How did
friends.
that happen?
A Disney moment.
But after a great morning at a place with an even greater name, it was time to start moving on. But after making even more wildlife friends, a lot of them, it was back to our regularly scheduled programming of hiking.
So this was a training PR.
Congratulations on your first ever half marathon, man. I think that's a PeakHouse first.
Today's visit, Johnston Canyon.
All right, guys, it is time for hike 4 on the 4th day of this trip. How's everyone feeling?
Great.
Wow.
Okay, so this hike was probably the hardest to find transportation-wise of the 4 we'd done so far. But surprisingly, it might have been the most packed too.
It's too crowded to really enjoy. You get noticeably slowed down waiting for crowds to clear out.
Yeah.
So it really takes away from this hike.
Yeah, all right. Was that the worst hike you've ever been on so far?
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely here. That was
We're
the
a
worst.
tiny ass waterfall too, I have to say.
But after said waterfall, things got substantially better.
You can't even see the people from this part of the hike.
I can spread my arms for the first time.
We wound our way up past some more waterfalls, some of which actually were pretty cool.
So how would you rate the flow rate on this waterfall?
I would say it's a solid 6 out of 10.
Until we eventually found ourselves back in the woods. The views did admittedly die down for a bit.
Is it the best landslide you guys have seen on this trip?
I think it might be the only one, so.
But then, things finally opened up, and we made it to the landscape we'd all been waiting for.
Guys, we made it to the end of the trail.
We're now officially Vikings at the end of the Nordic ski trail.
PeakHouse 2025.
Oh my.
In all seriousness, we found ourselves surrounded by some of the coolest bodies of water we'd ever seen, known as the ink pots.
Oh my.
And to wrap it all up, we found our way to what might be the most scenic bench in all of Canada.
10 out of 10 bench.
Should we rank the bench? I think we just did. Bench rankings?
Bench rankings.
But the springs in the view weren't the only reward at the trail's end. Perhaps more so than any other part of the trip, we found ourselves truly feeling isolated from the crowds in other parts of the park and really able to take advantage of the spectacular nature surrounding us.
Whoa!
Let's go!
That was an otherworldly experience, but we couldn't wait around too long because with all of our hikes out of the way, there was one part of Banff we still needed to check out, the party scene.
Contact, eye contact. Okay.
Eat the meat. Eat.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Is it really good?
Well, that is really good.
There we go.
Then, we made our way to some dancing that didn't get on camera, plus found our way back to the hostel through a less than expected bout of heavy rain, but finally ended up back in the kitchen the next morning for a final farewell breakfast.
What got you to be the guinea pig and sign up for a PeakHouse hiking trip?
Right, so I'm a very avid hiker. I do plan tons of hikes, and sometimes it's hard to get friends to commit. Yeah, it's been a great time.
This trip was amazing. You guys should definitely do this.
I've been following Peak Rankings for a while and was excited to see, the trips and something a little bit different than skiing.
Honestly, I had some apprehensions about coming out and doing all these crazy hikes, but I did wonderful and it was so amazing.
Tons of cool people showed up. Man, we all became friends by the end.
This is a life-changing event and you've got to come out and try us.
Honestly, it was meeting the people that we did on the trip. It was an awesome group of people. We all meshed really well, and that's what made the trip for me.
And with that, the first ever PeakHouse hiking trip came to a close. The weather that day may have been pretty gloomy, but it was hard not to leave that trip in excellent spirits. Not only did the best parts of our skiing experience translate over to the hiking template, but we almost had to pinch ourselves to believe that we'd only spent 5 days together and gotten to know each other so incredibly well.
Badge. Here's your badge. Yeah, here's your badge.
Sure, it's hard to get away from the crowds in Banff during the summer, but there was something undeniably special about this new type of trip blooming, and we can't wait to make more of them happen soon. That's right, folks. We're excited to announce that we are doubling down on hiking trips for the foreseeable future. Not only are we running it back to Banff again in 2026, but we're doing a hiking trip to Jackson Hole and Grand Teton National Park in only a few weeks, leading a multi-island trip to Hawaii next April, heading to Switzerland to hike at the Matterhorn in June, and leading a more regional trip to New Hampshire's Mount Washington in September 2026. We're taking applications for all these trips right now, and you can find out more information about all of them in the description below. Special thanks to our Peak patrons, and see you at PeakHouse 2026.